ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to BTS1. We had a long break, but we've got another best of 3 for WVW coming up here. DK versus the Hyper Glory team. Potentially 3 matches. Ziori. I've got Blaze on the horn. Blaze, what's going on, buddy?
Excited to be here and see some awesome Dota. Just got out of a best of 3 where DK took down LGD CDEC, and they looked really strong in that matchup there. So they had quite a bit of versatility. They were kind of trying out heroes compositions that we hadn't seen before from them, and excited to see if they have any more tricks up their sleeve.
I'm excited as well. The first WVW series earlier this evening was rather stompy, so I'm looking forward to maybe something that'll be a little more even. DK are the pretty heavy favorites. Looking at the Dota 2 lounge bets, ooh, 92% in favor of DK, and 93% was the DK versus LGD deck. So slightly better odds here for HGT, I suppose, but not by much.
Yep, but I mean that means that if those individuals are supporting them and they do actually take 2 games off of DK here, that's going to be some easy rares, a lot of value with the new bet system.
Oh yeah, all about the value. So let's get into this draft here. DK, they'll ban out the Doom and the Bat Rider. HGT, they ban out the Lycan and the Mirana. Pretty straightforward initial bans here. Invoker whittles his way through. HGT obviously pick up the Treant with their first pick, and DK, they waddle into a nice little Naga Siren here.
Yeah, a lot of potential there. We saw Burning actually take that to the mid lane in the last match, so obviously having some formidability there. There is the potential for them to stack up on the Eastern Dire camp and give him some nice AoE farm, just moving in towards the Radiance to kind of dominate the map. A nice thing about the Naga is that she does have a lot of multi-instance damage against the Treant Protector. Even before Radiance, just having a lot of little mirror images pricking down those living armor charges is going to help them get those earlier kills. And in general, the Treant Protector isn't the most offensive of heroes to try to prevent a Naga Siren from farming. So already exploiting that, they pick up those 2 heroes and already have a pretty good opener to start things off.
Yeah, Lion pretty solid early on here. Not too many teams will second pick a Lion, but here the DK are quite comfortable with. Curious how HGT will react here. I have to imagine Invoker will be something they're considering,
10 seconds remaining.
But only time will tell here. Other potential
5 seconds
early
remaining.
picks, I don't know. Not much is jumping out at me here. What does HGT like to do?
I mean, there's a lot of combos that we did see from them when they played in the qualifiers, but obviously that was with a different roster in the International 4 China qualifiers. So this aspect of having not having CTY, I think, kind of brings them a little bit more in sync with each other. Like CTY, an amazing player by himself, but as far as trying to make those plays happen, I think he was on a different level. And whether that level is above or below, it doesn't matter. If you're out of sync, then there's going to be problems. So maybe going with a similar tempo level, they could pick up something like a Witch Doctor to sync up the Treant Protector ultimate cooldown with the Death Ward, and could see some potential there. But first and foremost, they got to get their Disable on the line, and it is going to be the Enigma with that very high potential black hole. Maybe getting really good ultimate off to set things up for success here.
Yeah, interesting though. The second pick Enigma, we've seen him kind of on the rise recently, and we'll see how it works for HGT. They've got their 2 supports with their first 2 picks, so
5 seconds remaining.
well, not a lot of versatility across these heroes, I guess is what I'm getting at. You pretty much know what they're going to be doing. Always the chance that Enigma could be in the off lane or perhaps in the mid, but seems like a waste. Enigma's just so damn good in the jungle, man.
Yeah, so maybe DK will try to go for some offensive pressure where they can get some Observer Wards and Sentry Wards to block out the camps, and that kind of is the weakness of Enigma right now. But right now, picking up an Enigma so early, it's HGT showing that they don't care if the Black Hole gets canceled. As long as they get the early farm potential of Enigma off in the jungle, and then later on the push potential with Mechanism and Eidolons, they're going to be feeling pretty good about themselves. You couple that with the Leech Seed, which does that AoE heal, even if the creep dies now, it's going to enable them to just continuously push on those towers and try to break high ground before the Naga Siren actually picks up that Radiance.
Yep, and HGT will ban out some of the classic counters to the Treant, the Dark Seer, with their 3rd ban, and we'll see what they do with the 4th. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Dragon Knight ban coming out here as well. Or possibly even an Ember Spirit. Not a hero that DK been running too much, but just another one that cuts through that living armor pretty effectively. Viper, another one, if they were so inclined. DK with the 3rd ban PA, though. So far today, I am at 100% PA ban rate in the games that I've cast.
Really?
She is all the rage. Yeah, she was first banned actually in the first two games I covered between Vici and LGD. So
Turn to ban.
China, man, they're not trying to muck around with the Phantom Assassin.
No, not whatsoever. They're a little bit afraid of its
DK's
potential,
turn to
haven't really experimented enough with it. I don't know. It's just like, it
RNG,
brings a lot
man.
to the table in its own right, because obviously you have to commit things like hex to it to get the disable, but they already kind of had that for the Lion. I mean, his ability would disable Blur, at least for its duration, and they did have some potential against her. It's just they don't feel comfortable in the matchup where she can farm creeps readily, and they can't really do too much about it, and obviously there's just some RNG that you don't want to have on the battlefield. It's like why people used to ban out the Chaos Knight when he was really meta relevant, is because his high potential
5
was just
seconds
so
remaining.
damn good that people were very, very concerned about it. Even
Yeah.
still, we're going to see the
Radiant
Beastmaster come
team
back into
pick.
play, and
Wow.
this is a very interesting here to see.
Yeah, there is some fun little synergy here with the Naga Siren and the Beastmaster. She's a pretty natural BOT carrier, at least towards the latter portion of the game. And, well, you can BOT to those Scout Hawks, which is fun. You can do all sorts of cheeky stuff all over the map. And even if Beastmaster wants to get some BOTs, you can sort of develop this semi-global presence with heroes that you don't normally
10
think of
seconds
as
remaining.
being particularly global. So maybe something we'll see from DK,
5
just
seconds remaining.
throwing some options out there. Beastmaster is definitely a little bit out from left
Reserve
field
time.
for me. Is this something that DK have been doing recently? I haven't noticed them running a huge amount of Beastmaster. I guess he's good against Enigma.
Yeah, I mean, he's not particularly
DK's
common,
turn
but
to
we
pick.
still see it from time to time. Ice does play it quite effectively, goes for the early blink and that kind of standard build. But I think it's just kind of what they were looking for this situation, is to be able to counter push down in the bottom lane, which the Whirling Axes certainly provide. And then, of course, later on, he does have that BKB piercing disable, so he can go ahead and cancel the Black Hole if the Naga Siren's Ensnare is unavailable, or if obviously the heroes that have magic-based disables like the Lion
10
aren't able
seconds
to
remaining.
do so. So whatever, even if the Enigma picks up like a Mecha to BKB
5
build up,
seconds
it's going to be in a
remaining.
good position here for the Beastmaster to control it. If you remember, obviously, most people do, the play that came out where they kind of
Radiant
turned around a
team
Naga
pick.
Siren and they hammered the BKB, got Enigma to turn around with a Black Hole. That's the kind of situation you're looking for to stop Naga Siren's initiation, especially on the back of like things like Keeper of the Light. But if you've got a Beastmaster in the books as well, that means that you're going to be able to cancel the Black Hole and just keep that momentum rolling.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I'm looking at the recent Beastmaster games, and he
10
was actually
seconds
played in Dream
remaining.
League. No Tail played him in one game. It looks like Yamate played him
5
yesterday,
seconds
so he's been
remaining.
getting a little bit of love here and there. DK will fourth pick the Coddle, the master of
Reserve
space
time.
creation with those ponies. I've actually come to enjoy a little bit of Coddle play. I used to hate him because I'm not a PL fan, and that was the only time you'd see him, but
DK's turn to
I'm
ban.
starting to come around a little bit. Coddle guy showed me the light.
Definitely, definitely.
Yuck.
Nice.
Yeah.
But in this case here, of course, he adds in a lot of counter push too as well. Not only is he set up by the Naga Siren's song to go for the max channel
10
Illuminate,
seconds
but as well,
remaining.
they're really worried about the early tempo from HGT. They got the DK, Enigma, Train
5
Protector,
seconds
all this
remaining.
push behind them. And I mean, there's like 3 or 4 different supports they could go with to finish off this lineup if they go for supports. But considering they
Radiant
already have the
team
Enigma in the
back.
jungle and not on the off lane in this situation, you're more likely to see just a push-oriented carry. So from there, you've got like the Luna, maybe the Gyrocopter because he's so good at dealing with the Naga. Anything that really carries Basilius in the early stages is going to be perfectly fine to contribute to that early
10
tier 1 kill.
seconds remaining.
Yep, and there's that Luna. 5th ban from DK, like you were mentioning.
5
Any hero that does
seconds
AoE
remaining.
is just solid against Naga in general, and I'm sure we'll see this Dragon Knight go for a Maelstrom
Reserve time.
eventually into a Mjolnir at some point in this game, just for a
10
little bit of extra
seconds
AoE
remaining.
damage to try and clear those illusions. Gyro could certainly be an option for HGT. They will
DK's
ban out the
turn to pick.
Tinker. All right. DK already have a pretty turtley lineup, so I guess the Tinker kind of would have been the icing on the cake there if that was the route they wanted to go. This will be your Mushi hero coming out last, and well, hard to say what they want. Something like a Kunkka could be okay. Decent setup with the Naga Siren Sleep. I don't know. That's actually the pick that's
10
jumping out at me,
seconds
but I'm also a Kunkka fan, so I'm a little biased.
Sure enough, sure enough.
5
Well, in this
seconds
case here, Mushi's been running a lot of Queen of Pain recently, and he's been enjoying that quite a bit. There's a lot of
Yeah.
potential there to zone out the Dragonite to a bit. He's going to have to Bottle Crow hard just to stay in the lane, and the damage over time is good against Treant.
The Ember
But
Spirit.
Radiant
yeah,
team
picking up
pick.
the Ember for themselves, it definitely is greedy, because obviously if the push succeeds, they're going to be penned in, and Ember and Naga aren't going to be able to contribute. But if the turtle is effective enough just by the hero picks we see on the table, then the longer the game drags out, the harder and harder it is going to be for HGT to cinch the win, because there's just so much potential there with the Ember, with the Naga, as far as late game, like hyper late game scaling potential. This could go an hour long, and they'd still be perfectly in their comfort zone.
Remaining.
Yeah, well, it depends what HGT do with this final pick, but I see this as one of those. HGT will get some pretty early momentum. They'll knock down the Tier 1 towers very easily, and they'll probably take the Tier 2s with a little bit of a struggle, but get them down and then breaking the high ground. I struggle to see that happening very easily unless DK makes some sort of big misstep and get caught outside of the base or something like that, but as long as they keep their wits about them, position themselves appropriately, breaking the high ground is just, it's going to be hell in a handbasket with this dire lineup.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be actually a Mushi Beastmaster, which is something that was played a really long while back, but I haven't seen it recently. Maybe I just missed that game. But in either case, Beastmaster, obviously Mushi's just a very formidable player in general, but getting Beastmaster solo experience in the mid lane would actually give him huge potential to go for the tier 2 counter push you're talking about. Like, they're going to be able to kind of here and there bring down the tier 1 pretty easily. When it comes to tier 2, that's when DK can start contesting, and having a level 5 Beastmaster at that stage
5
would do
seconds
wonders for them.
remaining.
On top of that, of course, MMY is going to pick up the Coddle, and that would leave Burning to be running. Oh no, I got it wrong.
Is this a... Whoa, okay, they're going to swap it around a little bit. I was
Okay,
going to
there we
say, the Burning Beastmaster, that's
That's
that's heresy. That's crazy. So, okay, will be Ice on the Beastmaster. Burning's going to be here on the Naga Siren. You mentioned MMY on the Coddle, Lanham on the Lion, and that leaves Mushi here with the Ember Spirit. Now, I see some people in chat. I know you're confused. There's 2 stand-ins here. Oh, God, that's crazy. Ice and Mushi, are they not part of the team anymore? You are mistaken, good sir. They are all still part of DK. They are not tagged up because they want to be able to pub, and they don't want people to know who they are. And when you're tagged up as the team, it's glaringly obvious by looking at their profile. So this way they can pub under silly pseudonyms, and people can't obviously figure out who they are and take notes on their strategies. So that is why they are tagged up as stand-ins. It is nothing more than aesthetics.
A little bit of smoke and
30
mirrors there,
seconds
but
to battle.
HGT, they have their full tag up set up. I think the Chinese character individual is Kaka, but I'm not 100% on that, obviously. His profile, like all of his aliases are in Chinese characters as well, so that doesn't really do us many favors in that regard. But either way, that's going to be the Dragonite in the mid lane with 2 tangos pooled. They're going to have on their solo safe, or on the safe lane in general, they're going to have the Treant Protector supporting alongside ZSMJ's Weaver.
battle begins.
And then up top, at least for the moment, we're going to be seeing Enigma go for the deny with the Eidolons for XTT's Clockwork. And then Pretty High will make his way to his jungle to farm up.
Yep, he sure will. He'll head back to the well and top off that mana pool, send those Eidolons over, and he'll get straight to farming. DK, not going to do anything too crazy with the lanes. It'll be Ice in the bottom, Mushi in the mid, and they'll just do a safe lane try and create some space for this Naga Burning. So, or Burning Naga, I suppose I should say. This is going to be rough for XTT. I don't see him getting a hell of a lot of experience here in this off lane. Even though he is Radiant, tends to be a little bit easier in the context of off laners. Coddle is just... He is not fun to go up against in a situation like this.
Yeah, but I think MMY is going to be primarily jungle focused, really wants to get the stacks up for either Burning or himself to farm out, so he's already making his way over to the eastern camp, and he's going to look for the stack on the hard camp trolls. So he isn't going to be putting out too much pressure directly, but once he gets to level 2, level 3, then he can either make a decision to harass back that Clockwork and make his life a living nightmare, or to go down bottom lane and make sure that they don't take those early towers. So at least you kind of open up options for yourself. And in the meantime, of course, ZSMJ is going to be farming. Same with Burning. They're just going to be going for that creep race.
Yep, absolutely. And Weaver should have a pretty good time here as well. Ice. We'll see what he can do. At least with the Beastmaster on Dire, you can stack the Ancients very easily, and your team can always come back to that. It has not been blocked quite yet. Looking at the warding situation, DK did actually get some aggressive wards down. Is this a magic bush ward right here? Or did
Yeah, that should be
Enigma kill
accurate.
that camp? Yep, looks like it. But there will be a Radiant Sentry down, so he will get some of his spawns back. They won't have the pull camp for now, but they did pretty good with these. Pretty well, I should say, with these Radiant Sentries. There is still one Dire Ward down. This little guy right here, right smack dab in the middle of the jungle. But what's important is Enigma gets his camps back, so his jungling won't be slowed down too much. Some more counter warding action up here in the top lane. Lanham will throw down a sentry, and he will take out this Observer. So far, it seems like a fairly even trade, both sides being rather successful with their initial sentries.
Yep. Still HGT going to be able to leech a little bit from the river here as far as that neutral camp, split multiple ways in experience, but he's going to take the Invis Rune mid, and there is some kill potential. Unfortunately, no battery assault, but now he's just hit level 3 from the lane itself. A 1-1-1 build could really be bad for Mushi here.
It certainly could, and he does have 2 points in Flame Guard, so that does give him a little more potential to survive. XTT doing the math, thinking about it. He'll path block him. Out come the cogs. And Battery Assault, Dragon Knight already using that Breathe Fire, but Mushi, he's just too darn tanky, at least for now. There's your Dragon Tail. Oh, the creeps come in, the path block. It looked like he might have had a chance to get away, but his own creeps will be his demise, and XTT draws the first blood on the Clockwork.
Yeah, close as far as those Battery Assault ticks, but just the way they pinned him in and the way they were patient about the positioning, they got it done, and that was very, very effective. Obviously getting the first blood momentum. Clockwork's not going to have a hard time in any lane that he goes to now, and on top of that, Ember Spirit, every time you kill him before level 6 is just going to be time that he is trying to catch back up.
Yep. Uh-oh, down bottom. Looks like Ice 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 could be in some trouble. ZSMJ getting a little aggressive here. Throws out the Scarabs as S rotates into the lane. Throws out a Leech Seed, but Beastmaster just a little bit too tanky, and he'll be just fine. Pops his healing salve and just goes right back to it. He does have 6 CS under his belt, 4 on the Clockwork. They're pretty even in that sense, but of course Clock got all that bonus gold from the first blood, and he's invested in a pair of shiny new Tranquil Boots as he heads back to the top lane.
So nice sustain for him. Of course, ISSI still has the advantage of stacking on Ancients when he chooses to, but if you look at the timing, he just uses Wild Axes on the lane itself to get creeps. He's not going to be stacking these, and he also denied his own boar once it got harassed back down. So he'll provide some good rune control down bottom, but unfortunately it spawns up top, and right now things are just kind of going okay for him. They're not going incredible, but of course they're not going too bad. Him with 0 deaths and finding himself almost at level 5.
Yep. DK grabs the Illusion Rune, which spawned at the top position, and just goes right back to it here in the mid lane. Mushi is actually not that far behind, only about 200 experience or so. Still a relatively even mid matchup here. They're only 1 CS apart, even though he did take that unfortunate tumble. Hasn't really fallen too far behind. Burning as well as ZSMJ, pretty comparable in terms of CS, within 1 or 2 of each other. So pretty even across the board. HGT should have a minor golden experience lead, compliments of the first blood, but more importantly, this Enigma. Pretty Haw in the jungle, just opening up so much more efficiency with 2 solo lanes, and just being a damn good jungler. It's one of the best parts about Enigma is how quickly he clears those creeps. He will meet up with the Dragon Knight, and they will smoke. Where are they headed? Looks like the bottom lane. Ice 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 will be their target.
Yeah, now they did smoke just right next to that Dire Observer ward, so ISSI should know that this is coming, but even still, it's a large amount of disable. Actually land him in a bad spot here. XTT singles him out with the Battery Assault, but doesn't get him the Rocket Flare to get the last hit. So nice pick up from the jungle. Now, back on bottom lane, the Dragon Tail breaks loose.
Yep, Elder Dragon form popped as well. ZSMJ dive in the tower, Leech Seed to boot, and Beastmaster will fall. That'll make it 3-0 to get things started. HGT off to the races. And they will translate this into a tower push down here in the bottom lane. Looks like DK will try to make a hold though. Glyph comes out, MMY throws out the Illuminate. Actually does a fair bit of damage to the Weaver. Lanham rotating in as well, but Eidolons, DK Illusions, and the Elder Dragon form. This is the perfect storm to take out a tower. Illusions on DK, just absolute ideal timing.
MMY. He's actually dying almost to the illusions. Good thing this corrosive breath is non-fatal because he would be dropping down to critical HP pretty quickly. These illusions, oh, they're so painful. But he's just going to be repelled. He'll go back to the well, and if they try to make a play for the tier 2 tower, that's, of course, when he's going to draw the line. Yep. So in this position here, look at that camp that he's actually farming up with that Illuminate there. He's going to be getting a lot of golden experience for himself or one of his allies, and XTT's got to keep that under wraps.
Uh-oh. Hasted Clockwork. He sees what's going on, and he won't be able to clear out the camp, but could prove rough for the Keeper of the Light, as now they know where the big stack is, and they may try to contest it. Mushi coming in. Can they grab XTT here? He does have 1 point in the Searing Chains, but now they won't even go for it. Hasted Clockwork. little too difficult to lock down. So DK not off to the best start here. Losing that tower was not denied, so HGT find themselves an extra, some extra gold to get things started. ZSMJ does have about 2,100 gold sitting in the bank. I reckon he's saving up for a Midas, but time will tell.
So in this position here, Dragonite's just going to farm up some easy camps. He hasn't really been contesting the mid lane very directly, so Mushi's going to certainly bounce back. But we'll see where he goes from there, if he's going to be able to pick up that Battle Fury by, let's say, like the 20-minute mark, or if he's going to be shut down a little further as they start getting aggressive on them. I mean, they have long duration disables with the Dragon Tail, as we saw earlier, and now the Black Hole is online as well, so it just comes down to the utility of that.
XTT in some trouble. He gets turned into a fish. There's your Earth Spike. Illuminate's already connected. Burning will throw out the ensnare. XTT survives, though. Living armor to boot, but I don't even know that he needed it. They just didn't have any way to get around the cogs. Not enough damage.
Yeah, the Radiant lane is extremely congested up here, so with the cogs right in the middle of it, they're going to get bounced back one way or another, and it's just so hard to kind of commit to a dive in that situation. On top of that, of course, he's got so much armor. Like, normally the Riptide would be putting him in negative armor, but because he got those Tranquil Boots early, he's feeling pretty good. And now he can just go back to base, get full HP, and then start ganking with this level 6.
Yeah, and Ice 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 needs to be a little careful here in the bottom lane, as you mentioned. Enigma is level 6, Black Hole is online, and he will not hesitate to use it for a solo kill if Ice 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 steps too far forward. He does have some support inbound, though. Mushi thinking about rotating over, but we'll just head back to the mid lane. He does have phase boots up, and now has an invisibility rune in the bottle. So Mushi sitting level 8 as well. Sort of an interesting build coming out, a 2-2-3 at level 8, so he's just got a little bit of everything. We've seen some Embers in recent days completely skip Sleight of Fist until the others are max, and others still maxing Sleight of Fist. This is somewhere in the middle. It seems to be working okay for him.
Yeah, not too bad. Of course, he hasn't really seen too many heroes in the past couple of minutes. We're going to see a smoke gang come through from HGT. They really want to get this kill, and wow, MY just completely cut out by the cogs.
Yep, hook shot in, and nowhere for him to go. That'll make it 4-0. XTD secures that one. That'll be a killing spree for the Clockwork here, as he now sits 3-0-0, and the 9-minute mark. Mushi comes in, invisibility rune on, as well as the Flame Guard. Thinking about getting aggressive here, but not going to be able to do it. Pretty hostile with the Black Hole available. Just the threat of the Black Hole is enough for DK to play a lot more passive here in that situation.
That, and as well, the Dragonite's going for some split push of his own. Pops the second cooldown of Elder Dragon Form to chip this tower down to 400 HP in the mid, and yeah, they're just pushing at all angles, so it's very difficult to decide which tower to prioritize. They're going to get this kill on DK in the mid with this roar, most likely, but at the cost of their 2-2, perhaps.
Yep, Mushi doing a lot of damage. Lanham with the disables. They will bring down the Elder Dragon. All right, Searing Chains to finish him off. It won't come for free, though. It'll cost them this tier 2 tower in the bottom lane. And all things considered, I think HGT will be fairly happy with that trade.
Yeah, I mean, time is still ticking. They really need to have these towers. It's not just like, oh, they're a given and we're pulling ahead because of it. It's if they don't take these towers and they don't continue to take these towers, that they're going to be losing out to the late game of the Ember and the Naga. Burning farming up a Storm right now, 3,500 gold on himself. That is going to be Sacred Relic in no time at all. And of course the supports are getting more levels with this jungle farm that we keep on scouting out here. Illuminate, using the Earth Spike, they're going to be able to burn these down very conveniently, and that's getting a lot of farm for DK. So yeah, there's a lot of tower gold flowing about for HGT, but they have to keep this tempo up or they're going to start losing control. Yeah,
you're right, and Burning is the last hit leader, actually #1 on net worth, despite DK not having a single tower kill to their name. Just compliments to how effectively he's been farming. Kind of left alone in the top lane. Clockwork's been very effective moving around the map, but the one thing he hasn't been able to do is stop Burning from farming. So, like you said, Relic should be coming out pretty soon, and well on his way to probably like a 14-minute Radiance or so, and that's darn tootin'. Pretty speedy.
Yeah, and I think Coddle's going to have a mech at a pretty good pace here. I don't think the Beastmaster wants to go for it. Lanham almost dies to this giant stack, but they're just playing it carefully, and they will be able to right-click them down to finish the job. So, yeah, they're getting a lot of cash value for this. Obviously, the Coddle is now at 1250 gold, and the Lion's right about there as well, so they can look at Blink Daggers, Force Staffs. Actually, Force Staffs are really important against the Clockwork, so they might prioritize that pretty highly. But beyond that, of course, the mechanism is in the works as well.
Yeah. Oh, Searing Chains almost connect on the DK in the mid. Don't know if that would have been enough for a kill, but Mushi certainly could have done a fair bit of damage. Pretty Hall rotating his way in. Still no black holes yet this game, but again, that threat is something. And he'll make some Eidolons. Looks like they will try and finish off this tier 1 tower in the mid. DK do have a glyph available. They will have a couple TPs on their way. They pop the glyph, and they will at least contest this push. I don't know that they'll be able to make a hold. Maybe they can go for the deny. Mushi comes forward, does connect with Searing Chains onto Pretty Haw, but won't be able to deny the tower, and it is the DK that gets the last hit. Hookshot in onto Ice Ice Ice. He's trapped in the cogs, and it looks like Beastmaster will take a tumble before he can do anything about it. That Dragon Tail just a little too much. Weaver now looks like he'll scout out Lanham, and oh man, this Lion just taking a lot of damage here. He'll take a negative Urn Charge. Nice Earth Spike will slow down the Weaver, stops him dead in his tracks. Lanham survives, but again, so much space creation here. Elder Dragon form and the Eidolons from Enigma just chunking this tower down. Burning might be on his way to a Radiance, but it won't do much in terms of keeping this tier 2 in the mid alive. Down she goes.
Yeah, up top though, Burning's going to try to fight this tree. It's so hard to do with all that living armor heal and block, as well as the high base damage of the Treant. He's going to go in for the deny, knowing that he can't heal it up enough against those illusions. But yeah, the deny is very clutch. Denies Burning the immediate Radiance, and he's going to have to farm it up just a little bit more.
Yep, slowing down that Naga every way they can. So far, HGT are handling themselves very well. Like you said, they have to keep this aggression up before the Naga hits critical mass, and so far they're on point. But as I mentioned in the draft, the high ground is where things get difficult. Tier 1s are child's play. Tier 2 is a little more difficult, but high ground not so easy. We still haven't seen any Songs of the Siren, and we haven't really seen DK group up his 5 and make a serious defense quite yet. So they still have quite a bit of power lurking beneath the surface. Top tier 1 tower falls, and only one outer tower remaining for DK. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Ice Ice Ice, he'll get caught in the black hole, and he will certainly take a tumble once again. That's a 0-3-1 Beastmaster, as HGT make it 6-1 in hero kills.
Yeah, Beastmaster's gone for a really unique build here too. 2 points in Wild Axes, maxing his Call of the Wild. The scouting of the Greater Hawk is going to be really helpful to avoid pickoffs that don't involve Smoke or Deceit, but going for the 4th point and it could get the Greater Boar as well. That means that it does slow more, it does more damage, so on and so forth, but I don't know if it's really going to make that much of an impact compared to getting that extra point in the Axis to farm up those Ancients. Right now, Ancients are stacked at least triple, maybe quadruple there. There's a lot of Ancients, and yeah, that would be really nice.
That's a quad stack, yeah, that's a triple Golem, the saddest Golems. So yeah, I would tend to agree. This build for Ice 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 doesn't seem to be working out too well, though, to be fair. XTT has been focusing him quite a bit here. Speaking of XTT, down to the bottom lane, him and ZSMJ going in on the Lion. A nice stun from Lanham, but won't do enough to keep him alive. Now Mushi coming in, throws the Fire Remnant back, wants to get a little aggressive here, does have some support inbound. Ice 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 with a Primal Roar ready, but won't be able to find a target. And again, a nice set of cogs from XTT, hook shot out. ZSMJ very low on mana here. I don't think they'll want to pursue this too far. Mushi with Searing Chains out on the clock will buy them enough time to make the escape, but the Treant Protector branching his way into the side lane here does have an Overgrowth available and an Invisibility Rune on. He will scout it out, and oh no, Ice Ice Ice. He's gonna just stack the Ancients here. Okay.
Yeah, there's no way he can efficiently farm them without a Soul Ring or without more points in Wild Axes. So they've got to have something else in mind. Maybe waiting for the Battle Fury timing for Mushi or something else. But for now, the smoke's going to get dispelled and they know that somebody's nearby.
They have a dust.
Dust comes out.
Oh no, the Treant Protector. But in comes ZSMJ. Maybe he can turn something around here. No, he'll walk to his death. He does have some wand charges. We'll be able to time lapse if need be. But nope, just Shikuchi's away. So DK will capitalize there as they do finish off the Treant Protector.
A lot of farm for Dragonite. He's actually going to pick up a Reaver. Wow. Kaka picking up a Reaver at the 15.5 minute stage. Just going outright for as much sustain as possible. Either the Satanic or perhaps more likely the Heart of Tarrasque. He just wants to stay active. Good right click damage, good sustainability, and it's going to be very hard to break this one down.
Yeah, not too often you see a DK walking around with a casual Ogre Club and a casual Reaver like that. Yeah, he is... got plenty of strength to his name with those strength power treads as well, but yeah, I think the Heart of Tarrasque is probably the more likely initial pickup with that Reaver. Mushi getting aggressive down here in the bottom, moving forward onto the Weaver, but little does he know, XTT hiding in the trees, ready to hook shot in at a moment's notice. He does have a point booster picked up already, as well as a Force Staff, so Clockwork will be going for that Ag Scepter, and hook shots aplenty with that 12-second cooldown. Burning did finish up his Radiance right around that 13.5 minute mark, and now has 1,700 gold. Probably the Yasha Boots of Travel opener here for that movement speed, and straight into the Heart of Tarrasque, but we'll see. Burning still needs quite a bit of time before he's scary.
Yeah. But in spite of not really acquiring any kills, they've actually been able to farm up quite a bit here. Lanham almost has his 4 staffs, and MMY has the full mechanism. This is all based on those stack plays in the Dire jungle. So now they can go out with a little bit of extra brute force behind them. They'll scout with the Hawk, and they have the Smoke and Deceit to try to make the play happen. They're obviously looking for ZSMJ. He doesn't have Linkage yet. If they get this roar, this could be a huge kill.
Yep, absolutely. Haystern in the bottle of the Beastmaster as well. Using that Hawk in the front lines. Uh-oh, ZSMJ moves right into the side lane. He will get a living armor, but only so much that'll do if you get hit by the stun. There you go. They even pop a Dust and a Sentry for good measure. That is one dead bug.
In the mid lane, though, they're going to be able to jump onto Burning here with the hook shot and close in on him with the Elder Dragon form Dragon Tail as well. They really wanted that kill. Now they will acquire it, but let's see what they can do with that 30 seconds without having to worry about the Naga Sirens.
DK want this bottom tower, but it's already got living armor, and HGT, they don't have a tier 2 tower to chew through. They can go straight for the high ground, and DK need to be very careful how they go about this here. It looks like HGT won't try and pressure high ground. They will port back after popping the glyph. Lanham could get left behind. No, they won't catch him. Oh no, MMY. He's taking an interesting path here. Kaka looking for the Dragon Tail. I think Coddle is bit off more than he could chew here.
Yeah, there's no real way to juke your way out of that one. In this kind of situation, you're just penned in, and you're trying to buy time for your teammates. So Burning's back up. He's already farming and pushing on the top lane, but MMY, of course, is slated to fall, and now the pressure will ensue once again. Actually, Burning trading it out with ZSMJ, forcing the time-lapse here right before he casts the Riptide, but even still, he has to worry about his HP pool. 500 and doesn't have any real regen items. 2.3 HP regen. And he's the one tanking the neutrals in the jungle, so
yeah,
that is an easy kill if they do find an opportunity on him.
Yeah, he does have his BOTs up now, so a little bit more mobile. ZSMJ could be in some trouble here. We see Lanham on the other side of the trees. Uh-oh, he's going to walk right into it. Nice Earth Spike, Finger of Death, and that'll finish off the Weaver. Great setup from DK, and just great map awareness. Beautiful positioning from the Lion. Guessing where the Weaver might go, and this ward right here, coming in handy, set the whole thing up.
Absolutely. So now, without the Weaver, they don't really feel as confident in pushing, and he still does not have that Lincoln Sphere. The recipe's up. You can pick up almost one component of the Perseverance, but even still, if he doesn't have the Lincolns, he can't stop the Roar, and that's going to be very problematic as this game progresses. On top of that, once he finishes the Lincolns, Lanham's going to try to go in and just use his mana drain on him every time to pop it. But we'll see if he can get in the position to do so. For now, he's got that Force Staff to break himself out of cogs.
Yep. Mushi will complete his first Battle Fury here right around the 19-minute mark, so pretty decent timing for the Ember Spirit, especially considering mid lane wasn't particularly easy for him. He was the victim of the first blood, so he's found some decent recovery, and now his farm will accelerate quite a bit. XTT battling out against the Illusions and the Greater Boar here. Will find himself a nice 28 gold bounty, but yeah, DK starting to look a little bit better. It was a little bit of a rocky start, but the gold graph is totally plateaued, and now they're getting those farming items. Mushi could be in some trouble here. The solo black hole. ZSMJ on his way in. Can they bring him down before he hops back to the Ember Spirits? And no, they cannot. An extraordinarily close call, but Mushi survives, and the Fire Remnant, that's what I was looking for. I called them Ember Spirits, but yep, that was very close. Unfortunate for HGT.
Yeah, they tried to send him off the Rocket Flare, but he's pretty much full HP already. Like, this is
and it missed.
Just really wanting that kill, and they obviously committed a huge cooldown for it. The Black Hole there. Now he's dueling out with the Naga Illusion, but almost got dropped down there. Ice tried to go to the high ground there. They tried to combine it with Landon's Force Staff, but he couldn't get up there to get in range for the Roar Axes. So Enigma will live, and we'll just unfortunately walk away with those cooldowns unavailable. But yeah, he's still farming well. He's going to find his BKB at a pretty good timing. As we mentioned in the draft, there's like 2 different ways they can cancel the Black Hole, even while during BKB, with Burning Since there, with the Primal Roar as well. But it's still going to enable him to kind of tank through the Radiance damage and come up on top.
Yeah, so Kaka does go straight for the Heart of Tarrasque, a very atypical Dragon Knight build. You usually see either Shadow Blade or BKB pretty much exclusively as the first item. So this is a bit different and kind of a sign that HGT really want to make something happen sooner rather than later. And Dragon Knight is their front liner. It does give him a lot of sustain and a lot of tank ability as well. So we'll see how it works out for him. Mushi cutting the wave down in the bottom lane. Was thinking, well, didn't he learn his lesson last time? But he survived, so I guess Mushi feeling pretty brave right about now. Already another 1,500 gold sitting in the savings. And meanwhile, Burning now has the Yasha to go with the BOTs, so those 2 farming tools online. He's cruising all over the place, 462 movement speed. And, yeah, nothing's slowing him down at this point. Holding #1 on the net worth chart. Pretty easily, though. Only 1,500 up on the Weavers. That SMJ had a very early hand of Midas, and it's been paying dividends as well. Speak of the devil, he'll initiate onto Mushi here. Big Slate of Fist coming out. Ice, Ice, Ice does 4-staff forward. Manages to get off the Primal Roar onto the Weaver. He will time-lapse back. Hookshot in from XTT. Right into a double impale from Lanham. They're trying to bring down the Weaver. They just can't do it. Pretty rather low. No Black Hole available. He'll be the one to grab the support from the Treant, and Beastmaster will get isolated. Once again, Ice, Ice, Ice gets brought down, and that will make it 10-4.
Yeah, and that was our last big opening on the Weaver. He just had the Lincolns coming out in the courier, now has it up his sleeve, and that means they're not going to be able to go for plays like that anymore, and obviously that one didn't pan out either. So in this case here, now they kind of transition away from the gank mindset into the full-on team fight and defensive mindset. Burning here alongside Lanham trying to go on ZSMJ. Can they get him breaking the Lincolns? But it's not enough just yet.
Oh.
Finally, the Radiance picks away, and he will go down. A very close call, but again, using that mana drain, then the Hex, they get the pick off as they needed to.
Yeah, close call is an understatement there. The Radiance Burn, I think, is what finally brought him down, and ZSMJ was pretty close to walking away from that one. Mushi will pressure the Chiron Tower in the mid lane, ports out just in the nick of time as Clockwork was inbound, and potentially could have been interrupted there if XTT wanted to be a little more YOLO with that hook shot.
Well, one thing he did there was he actually put the illusions in front of him where he knew XTT would be, so there really wasn't a 4th F angle, and that was a really smooth play by Mushi, because without those illusions, he should have been dead, plain and simple, but yeah, just able to mastermind where he can micro everything.
Is Mushi just going double Battle Fury here? He has another Claymore picked up. I suppose it could be a Shadow Blade, but a little bit suspect here. Double Battle Fury is not something I've seen the past few games I've got to cast in Ember. Usually it's the Battle Fury straight into crit. Seems to be the more popular build these days, but Mushi's down for some cleave action.
Yeah, I mean, he knows how many things are going to be right outside his base, knocking on his tier 3s very shortly. Eidolon split pretty early, and they're going to be easy targets to bounce in between, so I can see it being pretty viable. I also like Shadow Blade on Ember Spirit if you can time it well, where you actually get the Shadow Blade benefit throughout your Sleight of Fist because of the way the fade time works, but I haven't really seen any pro players really taking advantage of that, so I would say it is going to be Battle Fury #2, which would enable him to take that Ancient stack that's been sitting there all game long.
Yeah, that's a good point. Still the quad stack here, the triple golems and the thunder lizards. And yeah, he's just continuing to farm away, staying very aggressive in this bottom lane. They did finish off that tier 1 tower. Mushi actually got the last hit, so he is in pretty good shape in terms of gold farm. Pretty hard. Did complete his BKB on that Enigma. Still has yet to use it, but as we've already mentioned a couple times, there are multiple ways for DK to interrupt him through the black hole. Even just the Song of the Siren is another one with the long range if he's not careful. So Enigma just won't have an easy time this game. Yeah. Well, Song of the Siren won't go through BKB, but interrupts the black hole from long range is what I was getting at. And anyhow, XTT, he'll get Primal Roared, and this should be an easy kill. Yeah, Mushi will end that unstoppable streak. 800 gold going his way. ZSMJ on his way in, but Mushi just scoots to that Fire Remnant, and he makes the escape.
Yeah, really good kill for them. If they can get that money on to Mushi, suddenly he's got that second Battle Fury, and he could be making his way towards crit, as well as making sure that he has buyback stocked up. I mean, of course, a bonus gold is going to be reliable, so if you mouse over his gold, it's 1,700 reliable. He's going to have buyback for a very long time, and of course, still able to afford his second Battle Fury. Yeah. So very, very efficient use of his gold. Now he can go farm where he pleases, and it's very difficult for HGT to find a win condition here. You normally speaking against the Keep of the Light, you have to push up with Pipe of Insight, but building the Aghanim's on the Clockwork, building the Heart on the Dragonite, nobody's really going to be going for that Khadgar's for a very long time, and I just don't think the Heart on DK alone is enough to sustain the push.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it at this point. I think he's just going to be forced into a BKB, and HGT have really lost a lot of momentum here. Glancing at the graphs, they were sitting pretty at about a 7,500 gold lead, and it's now whittled down to a 2,500 gold lead, so they still have a minor edge, but DK are very quickly gaining momentum here. Lanham has a Force Staff and is just a few hundred gold away from his Blink Dagger. Ice, 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 in kind of a similar situation, not as much sitting in the bank, but they do have a Gem of True Sight. MMY picked it up, and Ice, Ice, Ice is the carrier, so DK do have some vision control, and we'll be able to start clearing out wards. Weaver's life will be that much more difficult. Burning as well has upgraded his Yasha into a Manta style, 4,200 gold in the savings, and he is just getting scary. That net worth between him and Weaver was kind of close just 5-10 minutes ago, and now Naga is like 50% up on the Weaver. So there's just a huge difference in how fast the Naga can farm relative to a Weaver.
Yeah, and it's just, the flash farm aspect, the fact that you can have multi-pronged assaults all the way across the map, that you can take out almost his entire jungle while farming a lane or two at the same time, and of course that gives you more control over the map as a whole. You can have your Beastmaster Hawk scouting, you have all the creep waves pushed out, and now we see even DK taking advantage of their opponent's jungle, just really crushing out ZSMJ and making it so that he doesn't have any real space to farm. So really in fear for his life now. Mushi is farming like crazy, actually topping out over the Weaver as well, and Dragonite and ZSMJ just seem to be falling behind.
Yeah, Dragonite is now moved into a Maelstrom, which I believe he just picked up on the courier. Yep, Archie blows. And also a Blink Dagger for S, sitting on that as well. So HGT are still finding some items. I think Clockwork has his Ag Scepter complete. So that is one loaded courier right now that's on its way out. He's pretty close to finishing up the Ags at least. DK just, his item build is all over the place. He went super tanky, and then they didn't really take fights, so he hasn't really put this heart to good use. He started with the casual Ogre Club, and now he's just moving straight into the Mjolnir. So, yeah. I don't know. It seems like he can't really decide exactly what he wants to do here.
I mean, long term, I don't really mind the heart. I think it's going to be really important to have against an Ember Spirit, since his enhanced damage ignores the Dragon Blood armor. It's just like, at least the cleave component, obviously, is not going to be mitigated there. So, in that case, raw HP is how you build against that. You get the Heart of Trask. But if he had gone for the Maelstrom first, it would have increased his rate of farm, and he'd have both these items about like 3 or 4 minutes ago. Yeah. Instead, now, he's finally picking up the pace, but it just doesn't seem to be anywhere near comparison to what DK have been bringing so far.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I don't think Heart is a bad item. It's just more, it doesn't really do anything for you if it's your first item if you're not taking fights. And like you pointed out, a Shadow Blade or a Maelstrom or any of those other items, they help you farm faster. So they have kind of a compounding effect. Mushi continuing to be elusive here, just moving all over the place. Anytime they start to think about engaging on him, he just hops to that Fire Remnant and showing us how to be irritating with the Ember Spirit. And it's one of those things that HGT have to kind of continually check their jungle and pressure him a little bit, but so far they have just not really been able to shut him down all that effectively.
Yep. So now Roche is really the thing that we have to look at here, who's going to be picking up Aegis soon, if they're going to be taking it, if the Nagasarin will guarantee it with their song usage, or if it's going to be maybe HGT to try to invade with their AoE team fight. But definitely has to be on their minds at this stage in the game, because that second life is just going to be game breaking. We actually see the real burning, but they don't know that's real. They know that that could just as well be an illusion, and if that was the cast, not be worth their spellcast time. So it's difficult, but we're actually going to see the pick off here. XTT looking for an opening on Lanham, but going in full retreat as the Weaver jumps in almost.
Yep, Earth Spike off the mark, but Clockwork does have his Ag Scepter up, so he has plenty of hook shots to throw around here, down to that 12-second cooldown. Weaver will pick up a Desolator now following that Lincoln Sphere, so finally picks up a big hard-hitting item and puts HGT kind of in fighting shape. Blink Dagger on the Treant, so now he has some more range on that Overgrowth, and Pretty Hall, he has Blink, BKB, and Mech. Kind of the trifecta of core items on Enigma to make the big plays happen. And we've seen a couple of single hero black holes, but haven't seen any of those super epic mega team fight black holes. Pretty Hall, wow. Oh wow, he hook shots in, but hits the Hawk. That is really unfortunate.
Hawk blocked anyone?
Yeah. Oh, whoa, watch out, Blaze. Oh, here we go. Ice, Ice, Ice. Perhaps in some trouble. Will force stuff out. Burning comes in with the Song of the Siren. XTT will be all right for now. Burning just TPs out. Very defensive song, but stops HGT dead in their tracks, and DK will walk away unscathed.
Yeah, so it's just that disengage potential. Every 60 seconds they can do that now, and it's so cost efficient, of course, with BOTs. Now with the recall, all MMY has to do is pop his ultimate, and Burning's right back in the farming realm. It's just like he jumps back and forth. They don't really have the ability to pin him down. 2,700 HP to 0, and from there, if he just gets that small opening to escape, he's going to have they're gonna have a real problem on their hands. So
yeah, they've already got a problem on their hands. Mushi now has a full Daedalus, not a Crystallis, but an upgraded Daedalus. He's hitting for over 300 in auto attack. Oh man, this is just, I mean, look how much damage he does to ZSMJ right there in just one Sleight of Fist. That cost him nothing. It's just absurd how big Mushi's gotten.
yeah, exactly. So now HGT have to be extremely careful about their positioning, avoiding clusters at all costs, which is hard to do when you're black holing and you do have 3 melee heroes. And on top of that, of course, you got a bunch of extra creeps to deal with. So positioning is key. Also a little bit of luck, avoiding crits, avoiding the cleave, since it is actually a random trajectory. It can be above the target, below the target, etc. And on top of that, of course, they just need to find this pickoff very shortly. Mushi, Ember Spirit, he did buy out for that Daedalus, so with that in mind, he has no buyback, but those windows of opportunity are closing quickly.
Dragon Knight, he's in some trouble. They'll throw the ensnare. They hit him with a Riptide. Enigma TPs to the tower, but he'll get initiated upon. He has a Black Hole and a BKB, but won't be able to get it off. The Primal Roar, the Finger of Death. Cockwork, hook shots into Lanham, but out comes the Song of the Siren, and now XTT completely isolated. DK are just going to shut him down. The hammer will be dropped. He force stabs to the low ground. Oh, wow. XTT barely makes it away. He will get caught with an ensnare. They leak his mana, but they just don't have the damage to bring him down. Big plays from the Clockwork. Still, DK come out ahead. They get a kill on the Enigma, and they get the tower.
Yeah, so in this situation, like, they're going to be pushed in. They're not even going to, like, see the enemy's side of the map for a very long time here because they just don't have any real way of pushing out of their base. The illusions have now kind of taken control, and they can just keep doing that. Like, now Nagasiren coming out on the courier, it's going to be Diffusal 2, which is actually an extremely high single-target damage output build. Now we see in the mid lane DK looking for an opportunity to land him, but he's just playing games with them, draining his mana and then force-staffing away, just knowing that he can run circles around him. And the XCT not going to be on the mark with Hookshot.
Yep. DK taking control of the game. They've actually taken the gold lead now. Just about 4,000 gold in their favor, and experience only a little bit in their edge, though. Not that it makes a big difference at this stage in the game. Naga is just massive. 25k on net worth, 18k on Mushi, and they are positions 1 and 2 on the net worth chart. DK going to get chunked down a little bit. Mushi will get hit by a hook shot, but he's okay. Hops back to safety.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, at this stage, Mushi has buyback burning, just farmed his up as well. It's going to be taking some miracle black holes to really bring HGT back into it. Like, they've got all the tools they need for it. They've got the BKB, the Blink, but they have to catch both the Naga and the Beastmaster, and probably the Ember Spirit as well, all three in a single black hole. And for right now, they're just not giving them the opportunity. They keep on bouncing around, farming away, pushing out the waves, and it's just so difficult for HGT to actually find an opening. Maybe they can bait Roche and then have people clump up right in the timing that they need them to, but more often than not, that's just going to fall flat on its face, and anybody that doesn't get BK beat up will just be songed to sleep until the black hole ends.
Up top, they will find Mushi. The solo black hole burned once again, and, well, a worthwhile kill there. Weaver will be the one to finish him off. That Desolator just chunking him down. Mushi is a glass cannon right now. He can put out the damage, but boy does he take it with that Desolator. He got dropped pretty quick.
Yeah. So I think they obviously have a lot of kill potential to just pick off heroes that can be turned that squishy as long as they're disabled pretty hardcore. But as far as pushing into the base itself, it feels kind of flimsy against just the nukes coming out from DK, a couple of illusions pulling the creep wave back. I mean, all Nagasiren has to do, all Burning has to do, is put one illusion at the tail end of where the creeps spawn from, and just kind of say, okay, well, we'll block off your reinforcements. And they wave down once or twice with Illuminate, and suddenly the base is perfectly fine. The last outer tier tower might be forfeit, but the tier 3s are going to be so darn hard for HGT to take anytime within the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. The only way I see HGT taking high ground here is if they win a big team fight outside of the base. If they completely wipe DK and Naga doesn't have a buyback, some situation similar to that. But I don't think they can take just a straight up fight trying to knock on the high ground. It's just not happening. Mjolnir is now up on the Dragon Knight, so they do have some more creep clearing abilities to try and cut through the Naga. She does have the casual Talisman of Evasion right now, a great value item, which will of course eventually be upgraded into a butterfly. So Naga is almost 6-slotted here. Just needs to farm up the rest of the BF, and, well, Burning will be in great shape. He'll just slither his way right into the Roche pit, and I don't see HGT contesting this They do have a ward down here on the high ground. Rocket Flare will scout it out, but so what? They know that DK's in Roche. I think DK is thinking right now, come at me, bro.
Yeah, without Black Hole, it's just impossible to assail this current position. So Burning, gonna drop down the Aegis, but I guess Mushi's gonna be the one to take it. He is the squishy one after all. And like you said, Burning's pretty much 6-slotted. From there, we actually enter 7-slot, 8-slot territory where you can pick up things like AC on the Courier. You swap it to yourself when you use Mirror Image so that they get the aura to emanate to towers and to the enemy. And of course, along with that, we've even seen Refresher Orb put on the Courier so that you can bounce in for that second Song of the Siren, which can just be some crazy Rat Dota plays. But we'll see what Burning goes for post-Butterfly. That's going to be the only guaranteed pick here.
Yeah, at Star Ladder, the LAN finals this season, LD said he actually saw Burning practicing in one of the warm-up areas with a 6-slotted Naga and the Courier, just microing the items around and using the Refresher just to get used to having your own kind of wardrobe carrier following you around. Doesn't happen too often, but eventually you get into those 60, 70, 80, 90-minute games where you've got 12 items on a Naga, and easier said than done to micro all those items around and use them quickly and effectively.
Oh, most definitely. So, he also has to be watching out from all angles. There are a lot of ways they could try to get on top of him. The Black Hole cooling down in 3 seconds now. Same thing that happened to the Ember Spirit could happen to the Naga Siren. It's much more difficult because of the HP pool. The bonus armor means 22 compared to 7 because of that massive agi gain that Naga Siren has available. But even still, it is possible if they collaborate enough with that big CD.
Mushi coming in with a sleight of fist. Gets a little bit unlucky with the Searing Chains there, hoping to catch the DK, but still zones him out a little bit, and this tier 2 tower goes down to about half health with DK committing next to nothing. HGT grouping up and trying to get in position for a hold. Clockwork will throw a hook shot, but will be off the mark. Lanham actually pretty nearby. Both sides do have ward coverage on top of the plateau here. Dire and Radiant wards alike. But not for long. Looks like the Dire will command and conquer the vision here.
Oh, wow. Look at that crit damage. Everybody's down to a third of their HP, and they mech up before returning to the fountain. It's not even enough just to be in the fountain.
Wow.
Like, they are taking so much damage if they're anywhere near each other. That cleave is really going to start ramping things up. And Ember Spirit actually picked up a Blink Dagger on top of this, so he really can go in deep for these super long-range Sleight of Fists, and that's why you have to be so cautious for HGT. You're not just safe positioning once you see the Ember Spirit. Even before that, there's a potential for him to go in for a
one-shot the
SOL.
creep wave, dude. Jeez, crackers. Look at the damage. ZSMJ forced the time-lapse, almost dies in one rotation. Clockwork hookshots in, catches Lanham in the cogs, but Naga's in the front lines. Will finish off the Dragonite. Now XTD rather isolated. There's your Black Hole coming out. Connects with Burning. They will bring down the Naga. Buybacks coming out of plenty. Naga as well as the Lion on the Dire side. And DK is now bought back to come into the fight. He does not have an Elder Dragon form, though, so only so much he can do. XTD, hook shots to the creeps. Lana makes it right back into the fight. XTD, will he go down? Yes, he sure will. The Ember Spirit is just too darn big. Only 2 left alive, the Weaver as well as the DK. DK have all 5 alive now following the buybacks, and I think they want to end it here, Blaze.
Yeah, Burning's BOTs actually got canceled because the catapult that he was teleporting to died, but finally they do recall him into the fight after they get a couple of easy picks, and this is going to be nearly impossible for HGT. They'll try to make their last stand here in the midnight hour, but it is looking bad. MKB, Desolator, right clicks, they do something, but it just doesn't seem to be enough. Even against Mushi, it's just not getting kills. There is a Blink Overgrowth, but Dragonite doesn't have Elder Dragon form. He's going to get roared, and he's going down.
Yep, the Roar, the Mana Leak, he is stun locked into oblivion. Now the Tree is the lone defender aside the Weaver. And mid lane of Rax have fallen, at least the important one, the melee Rax. They will just move down bottom. Tier 3 tower down, no glyph available. And there is just no reason for DK to back here. Enigma will come back up, but he's already used his Black Hole, and HGT are just out of cooldowns. They have no response for this 6-slotted Naga right now.
One cool thing about the draft that DK brought into this is they picked up the Lion as number 2 after their Naga. And one cool thing that Lion has that they might have been afraid of is the fact that he has the Hex as well as the Mana Drain, both instantly killing off illusions and would be causing Burning some real problems as far as farming things up. But he had no problems in this game at all. He ends the game with 30,000 net worth, and yeah, it's Naga Siren Burning Dota.
That was a pretty good game, actually. 41 minutes, 15 to 13. It was kind of well played by both sides. HGT, they took down the outer towers very quickly, but they just had no tools to break the high ground. Then after that, they lost the momentum, and Burning, you give him any room whatsoever, and he will jump all over you. Pretty damn impressive farm. 867 GPM on that Naga, and Mushi's Ember Spirit 615 GPM. Damn impressive. I want to look at hero damage done. I'm just curious how much damage Mushi did that game. Naga did 46k, and the Ember Spirit, where are you? He actually only did 20k. Wow, that's a lot less than I thought. I guess he spent most of his time farming, but...
And it's also in quick bursts. Like, you notice it so much because it all happens in, like, one fraction of a second. But Naga Siren is doing all this damage over time just with this annoying radiance.
Yeah, that's a very good point. But Naga, obviously, carrying the most of the weight there. Very impressive play. That was only Game 1, though, guys. We will have Game 2 of HGT versus DK coming up here after this short break. Don't go anywhere. More Dota 2 coming up here on Beyond the Summit.